Hi, American Literature. It's Callie, and this is really weird because none of you are there for me to see your shining, smiling faces. I miss you guys, and I hope that all of you are doing well. Hopefully, at some point, we will be able to do this in person-ish, like where you guys are interacting with me, because that is what I thrive on. Instead, we are going to be in this situation where you guys are watching a video throughout the week at some point. The goal is that you're watching it by Wednesday, so you give yourself plenty of time to work through any classwork and homework that we go through on the video. Now, before we get started, I do want to go over a few little things. I emailed each of you. When you watch this, it'll be like, I don't know, yesterday, the day before yesterday, something like that. And it just talked about some goals. With these videos, one thing I want you guys to consider is that the reason I'm doing it this way is so that you don't have to be somewhere at a certain time in front of a computer screen. I know that everyone has kind of a crazy schedule, even though we're all quarantined. You might have siblings with classes and one laptop. So this is one way for you to easily get to the video, watch it at a time when is convenient for you. But then also, for me, I still want to make sure that we have classwork that you guys turn in, because that is a beautiful thing when it comes to what your gradebook looks like in Toolbox. So as we go, in just a little bit after I go through your test review, I will have some classwork for you to do. You can just hit pause on the video, do the classwork that I ask for you to do, hit play again when you're finished, and we'll continue. We do this in class sometimes, and you guys work together at the table to put together facts, whatever it might be, answer a question. That's what I'm looking for. So as we go, you guys will, after the video, then take a picture of that, or you can type it and email it to me so that I can plug in a classwork grade for you. In addition to that, I will also be letting you know about homework assignments. You guys are reading a novel, and eventually we'll start talking about what that project will look like in a few weeks. But with that homework, you're going to see it in Toolbox like you have every other week before this, and you'll turn it in by the following Monday. And really, it's just any time that Monday. If you do turn it in after that, if there are extenuating circumstances, I will have grace, as I hope you will have grace with me. My goal is to grade as things come in, and as they're, whether it's submitted through Toolbox or emailed to me. I like to get it in the grade book and make sure it's taken care of so I don't miss anything. But as you know, with everyone being at home, I have a house full of people too. So just trying to get this done and also make sure everyone else is taken care of too. So I think that's everything that I wanted to preface the video with, but if I think of something else, I'll let you know. Right now, though, I wanted to go over the American Literature Study Guide for your test. This week you will go on to Toolbox and take the test there. And I just know that sometimes when we don't go over it in class, you might during the week have questions about maybe an answer that you couldn't find. So to go over it quickly, and also to kind of review you before you take the test later this week, we will continue to have the same matching section at the very beginning where you match the author to their work. And so we'll start with T.S. Eliot, and he wrote The Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock. And then we have F. Scott Fitzgerald, and I have him listed, even though he's written so much that I love, I have him matched up with his poem Winter Dreams. Then we have John Steinbeck, who wrote The Turtle, and we have E.E. Cummings, who wrote Anyone Lived in a Pretty How Town. We also have Ernest Hemingway, who I have matched with In Another Country, as well as Robert Frost, who, if you don't know this one, you should, Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening. I think I had to memorize that when I was in elementary school. And then we also have Langston Hughes, and he wrote Dream Variations. Now, just know that it can get confusing because we have Winter Dreams, and That's by Fitzgerald, and then we have Dream Variations, which is by Langston Hughes. I know that we had a week with the sub, and so it may be that you're unfamiliar with an author because of miscommunication on his part and on my part, and what he taught that week. So I hope that you were able to find all of those. And now we're just going to move into where you're going to have some short answer questions, and it just kind of I'll just go through I'm going to go through the test key. You guys are answering questions in your study guide. But T.S. Eliot's work was considered revolutionary, just so you know. He wrote a story called The Wasteland, and it's actually about political corruption, and it was very well renowned. We also, with Fitzgerald, just so you know, you guys are very familiar with The Great Gatsby right now. He wrote in the setting of the 1920s, and that's kind of where his wheelhouse was. A lot of his work was based in the 1920s, and just so you know, he was an instant success. Like Fitzgerald, he was one of those authors that he wrote. I want to say he was published first in magazines, but when he started writing, immediately the public loved everything that he wrote. Where a lot of authors that we've talked about, their work wasn't published until later in life, and then even some of them, they weren't popular or well known until after they passed away. So just so you know, I'm going to have some true false on the test too, and some things you need to know about T.S. Eliot and Fitzgerald before we move on is that Eliot actually grew up in poverty. He taught himself at home. And then you guys know Fitzgerald, he was known for writing in the 1920s, but he was also known for writing in like metropolitan or cities type settings. He was very good at writing about busy places and busy lifestyles. John Steinbeck, just so you know, he wrote Of Mice and Men, and we also go over Cummings and the fact that he was a painter in Paris before he ever became a writer. Now, Ernest Hemingway, one of the things I like to discuss about him is that he wrote so many wonderful stories, but not one of them was in an imaginary place or world. Every single story that he wrote, every setting that he wrote about, he had actually been to that place or visited that area. So I feel like it's back and forth a little bit, but just so you know, John Steinbeck, the author of Mice and Men, he actually wrote about poverty and desperation in all of his novels. E.E. Cummings was actually known for writing realism. Remember, he was the artist before he was the writer. And then Hemingway, he was actually a journalist early in his life before he became a novel writer. Now, like I said earlier, the most unique thing about Hemingway is that he visited or lived in, or in some cases was, sailing a boat. Everything that he wrote, he'd been there, he'd done that. So Hemingway did win a Nobel Prize, just so you know. And moving on to Robert Frost, he grew up in the Northeast, and he actually had a really complicated personality, and because of that, his poetry was very straightforward, and that's, I think, why it's so appreciated. Langston Hughes, he was actually a really close friend to one of the other authors on our list, John Steinbeck. And Langston Hughes, he was a professor in Atlanta for a short time. So on the test, like I typically do, I'll have a poem for you to read. Lucky for you, it's Robert Frost. And you'll have a couple of questions to answer after you read that poem. And then at the end of the test, I'm going to have you guys explain or express to me who your favorite author and who your least favorite author were out of these authors that we've studied the last few weeks. And make sure that when you write those answers, that you give me some really good content. I want to know specifically why they were your favorite or why you didn't like them. Give me some examples. Now, when it comes to the test, you'll have this review here, and obviously you have the review that you did last week. Make sure to take a picture or scan that review or the study guide, and let me know that you did it so I can put a grade in the grade book. And then at some point in the next 3 or 4 or 5 days, right? Let's maybe try before Friday. Go online, take that test in Toolbox, and that will give you some time, some buffer time to get your homework done. Now, this week you are only having to read from one author. I know that I double up a lot of times just because I like to go over a lot of content in American literature, but this week you guys are going to be reading something from an author named Flannery O'Connor. So what I want you to do right now, this is one of those classwork exercises. I want you to go to your textbook, open it up, and look in the table of contents and find Flannery O'Connor. I want you to find the name, go to the page where that short biography is of the author, and I want you to write down 10 facts about Flannery O'Connor, okay? So this is where you hit the pause button and you start working, and then when you're finished, you push play again, okay? Okay, so 3, 2, 1, pause. Okay, you're back, right? You stopped. I hope you did, or otherwise that will look really funny. What was exciting and what was unexpected when you went to go look up Flannery? Was it that she is a female? This week you guys are going to be reading something from her work, and you're going to be answering some questions in the textbook. That is all you have to do this week. I'm excited to get your classwork. Remember to email or send a picture of your facts about Flannery O'Connor, so that we can make sure that you get a grade for that in the grade book, and then after you're done with your work this week, feel free to email it or send it to me whenever you finish. Don't feel like it has to be next Monday, even though it is due next Monday. Next Monday, you will also have a little quiz that at some point you'll take on Toolbox for your Great Gatsby reading. So make sure that you're caught up with that. I won't ask anything too crazy, but just know that I will ask questions from the chapter that is assigned in your assignments in Toolbox, okay? I think that's it for today. I hope that you guys are having a nice break and that everyone's healthy. I do want to make sure to let you know that you are missed and you are loved. And I know it might feel lonely, and some of you, it might feel claustrophobic depending on how many siblings you have. Just know that you are so dearly loved and that God has got this. And I really just can't wait till we can schedule a time where I can see all of your faces, whether it's online or whether it's in person. I'm ready for that day already. So if you have any questions, any concerns, any issues with Toolbox, please feel free to text or email me. You can call, but my house has been a little chaotic, and I'm recording this later at night so that it's not chaotic. And if I don't answer, I promise I will get back to you as soon as I can. But other than that, good luck. Have fun with this homework. Now it's real homework because you are home. But I will speak with you guys later, and I think just have another video like this next week, unless we can figure out a good time to get everybody on at the same time. All right, bye.